Hello world, my name is Israel. This will be an introduction to category theory for rhetoricians. So rhetoricians work over a category of reasoning, whose objects are dialectical propositions, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, etc., and whose morphisms are given by reasoning, represented with a colon, or with the standard morphism notation. The principles or axioms of this category are three. These axioms determine what a category is by definition, namely associativity, identity morphisms, and transitivity. Associativity is self-evident and allows us to write the general form of syllogism without worrying about things like parentheses. I've represented it here, where I've represented the general form of syllogism using the forma notation. Identity morphisms also are self-evident, for every dialectical proposition A follows from itself. This is called maxim. Again, transitivity is clear, for if B follows from A and if C follows from B, then C follows from A. I've represented the transitivity principle or axiom in both ways, using both forms of notation. Now, the dialectician's art moves from the proposition that B follows from A and the proposition that C follows from B to the proposition that C follows from A. And the rhetorician's art moves from the proposition that B follows from A or the proposition that C follows from B from the proposition that C follows from A. Thus, the dialectician and the rhetorician have inverse relations to the transitivity axiom in the category of reasoning. The rhetorician can move either to the proposition that C follows from B or to the proposition that B follows from A. I've represented these forms as enthymeme 1 and enthymeme 2. So we begin with disagreement. We wish to show that C follows from A. We observe that there is agreement with respect to the dialectical proposition that C follows from B, where the interlocutor has knowledge that B follows from A. The interlocutor then completes the syllogism and agrees that C follows from A, and disagreement becomes agreement. This is enthymeme 1. Again, we begin with disagreement that C follows from A. We recognize agreement that B follows from A, and that the interlocutor has knowledge that C follows from B. And the interlocutor completes the syllogism, and disagreement becomes agreement, namely that C follows from A. This is enthymeme 2. We can see the inverse relationship more clearly. Perhaps I should write this. Thus, if we compare the diagrams for the two forms of enthymeme with the diagram for transitivity, we can see quite clearly that the dialectician and the rhetorician have inverse relations to the axiom of transitivity in this category of reasoning. So, a poetic way to say this is that the dialectician is to the rhetorician as and is to or.